Let me ask you a simple question. Why does that old, dusty lamp in your attic feel valuable? I mean, if you saw the exact same lamp at a flea market, you'd probably walk right past it. But because it's yours, suddenly it feels different, more important, more special, harder to let go. That's not just nostalgia, that's psychology. Today, we're breaking down something called the endowment effect, a cognitive bias that quietly convinces us that anything we own is worth more than it actually is. And once you see it, you'll start noticing it everywhere. Think about selling something you own. A car, a phone, a piece of furniture. You check the market price, and your first reaction is usually, yeah, but mine is better. Better maintained, more meaningful, worth more. But here's the uncomfortable truth. To the market, it's just another object. So where does that extra value come from? It comes from you. The moment something becomes yours, your brain adds a psychological premium on top of its real-world value. Not because you're irrational, but because your brain is wired to protect what you already have. This bias was famously demonstrated in a simple experiment. People were randomly given a mug. Nothing special, just a mug. Then, researchers asked them how much they'd sell it for. The price? Surprisingly high. Meanwhile, people who didn't own the mug were only willing to pay much less for the exact same object. Same mug, different ownership, completely different value. That's the endowment effect in its purest form. And it doesn't just stop at mugs. It shows up when you overprice your home, when you refuse to sell old tech, when you hold on to clothes you never wear because they might be useful someday. So why does this happen? First, loss aversion. Psychologically, losing something hurts more than gaining something new feels good. Giving up what you own feels like a loss, even if you're getting something of equal or greater value in return. Second, identity attachment. We don't just own objects, we weave them into our personal story. That concert shirt isn't just fabric, it's a memory. That car isn't just transportation, it's independence. That old phone isn't outdated, it's familiar. The more time, effort, or emotion you invest, the harder it becomes to see the object objectively. Third, perspective shift. Ownership quietly moves you from an outsider's perspective to an insider's one. You stop asking, what is this worth? And start asking, what would I lose if I gave this up? And that shift, that changes everything. This bias doesn't just affect clutter, it messes with serious decisions too. Think investing. Why do people hold on to losing stocks far longer than they should? Because selling feels like admitting loss. Or jobs. You might overvalue your current position, not because it's objectively better, but because it's familiar. You're already endowed with it. New opportunities get dismissed not on logic, but on emotional attachment. And in a fast-changing world, that can quietly cost you growth. So how do you fight back? You don't eliminate the bias, but you can outsmart it. Here's one powerful trick. Borrow an outsider's brain. Before selling, ask, if I didn't already own this, how much would I pay for it today? Before refusing an opportunity, ask, if this weren't mine already, would I fight to get it? That one question alone can snap you out of emotional overvaluation. Another strategy, create psychological distance. Wait before pricing something. Sleep on big decisions. Write the pros and cons as if you were advising a friend. The more neutral your perspective, the weaker the endowment effect becomes. And finally, practice intentional letting go. Not because owning things is bad, but because clarity is valuable. When you detach value from ownership, you free yourself to make cleaner, smarter, more rational choices. The goal isn't to own nothing, it's to own without being owned. Because once you understand the endowment effect, you stop asking, how much is this worth to me? And start asking, what is this actually worth? And that shift, that's where real control begins.